Hello, this is Jonathan Henkels talking about my social studies PLC I came up with for class. So why PLC? Why should we go with this? Well, really, a professional learning community is defined by Rick DeFore is really what's needed for education to go well. And the purpose is really just to help students learn, to help them reach their full potential. And in order to do this, the staff at the school needs to work together to make this happen because by ourselves we can only do so much, but when we pool our resources, ideas together, that is what's going to help us enable students to learn successfully. So how are we going to do this? Well, in order to form a PLC, there has to be a plan. And in the plan, you have to go through, as a department, to go through the mission, the vision, and the values that we're all going to share in this PLC. Because if the whole staff doesn't buy into this and take ownership of it, it's not going to be very successful. So we have a few different ideas on how we're going to do that, making sure we come up with these things together, make sure the whole staff gets buy-in, and use Google Docs to check that and make sure that that happens. And if that does, the PLC should work out. So in addition to that, what also should happen is to make sure that our mission statement is a good one. And I think there's a very good mission statement in the sense that we have a purpose of making sure the students are learn that they're capable when they leave high school to be contributing citizens to society in the 21st century, that they're lifelong learners. And there's a few ways that the staff can make sure that that happens. Obviously, good teaching and best practices will be a big part of that, but also a big part of that is our vision statement which we want to have, which revolves around, like we said, students being lifelong learners, especially using technology. We're talking about 21st century. Obviously, using a computer, being able to use that effectively is going to be a huge part of whatever program that we have. And so making sure that they're able to adapt and use that would be a big part of their progress and their learning throughout their high school lives and then beyond that as well. Because the whole point is not just to be good in high school, the whole point is just to be good at learning in general so they can move on and do bigger and better things as they progress throughout their years. So the value that we really want to have and express to them is really the idea of lifelong learning. Students shouldn't just come to class, learn, and forget everything you know. We want them to actually be excited about learning. Now, everything they're not going to have a great, deep passion for, but we want them, we want to value learning, we want to value teamwork, we want to value collaboration and value ideas, and make sure that that's part of what we're going to accomplish with these students, and really just seeing that within the department, but then also within the student body as well. If that happens, I think we'll be very successful in the PLC workout. So in order to accomplish this, it's not just going to happen on its own. We have to form goals, and SMART goals in particular. Um, SMART goals obviously have certain criteria. Ours are basically going to be mostly about common assessments and about technology we'll talk about later. But let's start with common assessments. In order to make sure students are learning, we have to have common assessments set in place so we can fairly judge them. And also the criteria need to be set up there so we can evaluate students. And then obviously we have to make sure that enough of them are scoring well and have a target number we're going for as well. And obviously that can also be adjusted over time. And this is just all part of it too, making sure we're clearly defining what we want to do with the students, when we want to do things by. Obviously, within the first year, we like to create a full set of common assessments for each course. This may take a lot of work, but with our team and the time that we'll have, I think that would be able to be accomplished because within our school day, we do have time to actually have collaboration once a day. So there's definitely time for teams to meet and to get work done, or if there needs to be independent work at times related to that as well, that'll be important. But a big part of having common assessments is the ability to analyze data and to figure out what students know, what they don't know, and how they're going to learn what we want them to learn. The data will point us in the right direction. That'll be like our guiding light to say, hey, this works or this doesn't work. Okay, this assessment is a good assessment, or at least maybe it's not a good assessment because we feel like the students do know something, but their assessment isn't showing it. But ultimately, the data doesn't lie. So if the data isn't where we want it to be, we'll have to change course. We'll have to switch gears. We'll have to readjust either our teaching or our assessment if we feel like it's not accurate at all. Ultimately, the goal is for our students to be able to graduate. It's to be able to do very well. It's to be able to, in their, like I said, move on beyond high school and to do well outside of the school. And if we're able to do this with these assessments, this can give them a clear indication that their degree is actually worth something, that they accomplished, they can know what they were supposed to learn, and that it has some meaning and value to our lives. It's not just something that was useful in school, but hopefully some of the big ideas that they take away from these courses they can use in the future as well. And the big ideas also may be very useful in thinking abstractly, thinking outside of the box. I think that'd be really important for students to be able to do, because more and more in the 21st century, it's not just about getting the answers right in a test. It's also make sure they can think outside the box. In order to do that, we have to have projects and rubrics for some of the assessments. Not everything should just never be a multiple choice test. We need to make sure that we're assessing them in ways that are realistic, whether it be a scenario simulation, projects, presentations, things that they'll have to do outside of the classroom and then in their careers and their lives as well. And an important part of this as well will not just be making teaching to the test, but also then when we get the test, make sure that we're reteaching, that we're correcting their mistakes, to helping them out, getting their input on things to see what they were confused about, to see what they need to be fixed, what needs to be fixed as well. We're hoping that teachers not just only assess students and know what happens, but then also know how to correct and fix any problems that they may have as well. So that's our goal for the learning of our students, but not the only one. We also want to make sure that we're helping students become 21st centuries by incorporating technology in our program. And one of the things we want to do is making sure that we are having different ways we can monitor their learning by different data sets, and by incorporating technology in that as well into our not only our evaluation, but also in how we're going to instruct students, how we're going to measure students in their progress and what they're able to do. Because it's not just enough now to know the information; they have to know how to express it in different platforms and ways. And in a lot of ways, it's a lot like learning a new language or a new instrument with these students and teaching them technology. Um, it takes time to develop the language and the code and the fluency as well. And even though our students in particular are very fluent at maybe social media, they're not necessarily fluent in other aspects of ways that they can use technology to learn more, to show what they know, to express themselves a bit more professionally, and also to collaborate in a productive way. All they really see is Instagram and Twitter, and that could be great, but they're not really productive. And one way we could do that is through a tool called Etherpad, which is basically a live document. They can able to more than one person can record at a time what's happening. They can basically, it's like more, I imagine it working a lot like a wiki, where students can compile information together in one spot in one location. Obviously, as a staff, we'll use this first, but then we'll use it for department meetings and for collaboration records. But then also the students can use this too for putting together project information, study guides, questions. They can use this and compile the information and put it together. And then obviously this helps out with our students and their computer skills and literacy. It's not just something that they do like just simple web browsing, but actually they're able to compile and create and put something on the internet that's able to help them academically become better students, to become more lifelong learners, to be able to find a new way to learn and a new way to express themselves on the internet as well. So it's not just an academic, but also a social tool as well that they can have. So what's the bottom line for everything that we're doing? Really, the end goal is student learning. We need to begin with the end in mind, and that's our North Star, so to speak, is student learning. And if we can have that, if we can make sure the students are learning what we want them to learn, what we think is important, then we'll be doing our job. And obviously measuring that through assessments, through having smart goals that they set up, whether they're meeting those goals or not, will be a great way and a great motivating tool to see if our students are going to be able to learn effectively or not. And if we're able to do that, we're able to create a collaborative environment where really we're able to have students enjoy school, enjoy learning, enjoy the learning process as well. That they learn that it's not so much always about what they get at the end, but it's the journey along the way that's really enjoyable as well. And they should learn to enjoy the journey, because when it comes to learning, they're going to be making that again and again in their lives. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Hopefully you can, this is when this plan goes into effect, if it happens, will be very effective, and that will help students reach their potential and become 21st century learners. Thank you.